Hey, Hillary. So this is now it'd be day 4. We're inside right now. I got Braveheart and Tehya installs. It was basically a blizzard last night, 30 to 50 mile an hour winds, and I think the wind chill was -6. So since everybody's kind of coming down to their summer coats, I went ahead and brought these two indoors, and I didn't catch them to bring them in. I probably could have, but I just set up panels and we just ran each one into their stalls, and they did great overnight being installed. So anyway, before I put them back outside, just because it's so miserable working outside, I thought I'd work with them a little bit in here. And what I'm going to do is a little bit different from what I'm going to do outdoors. Here, I'm just going to ask for their focus, wait for lick and chew, and back off. And so it probably won't seem like I'm doing a lot, but this usually has a lot of impact later on in helping them relax. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. They may do great, or may get a little wild. Um, Now, I have no doubt that if I needed to, I could just go in and catch them. I'm sure Stephanie has gotten them to that point. But what I'm doing here is not, the purpose is not to get them caught. It's to teach them how to be caught in the right state of mind, right? And how for them to find that state of mind on their own, so that when I'm doing other things down the road, we can continue to build on that. So I'll just kind of start working on it and kind of talk through what I'm doing as I go. So first off, I love that she is focused on me here. If she was not, I would probably attract her focus even from out of the pen. If it was too much, like you see how just unchaining this gate pushed her body away, right? That was a little bit of pressure on her, but she's kind of mentally still staying here. If that was enough pressure that she completely like ran and hid in the corner and stuck her nose in the corner, was like mentally gone, I wouldn't even go in the pen with her. I would stay out here and attract her focus back. But she's giving me her focus pretty good. So I'm going to go on in. And I'm kind of looking for what spot, because I don't think she's going to let me go right up and catch her, at least not with good focus. So I'm looking for at what spot is my presence too much for her. And whenever I get to that spot, I'm going to be respectful of that. I'm not going to press through it because I don't want to drive her even more internal and more shut down. I'm going to get to that spot. She's going to shut down a little bit, and I'm going to ask her to come out of being shut down, relax, and then I'm going to back off and reward that. Again, I'm teaching her how to interact with humans, how to be caught, not just trying to catch her. And I've got this flag. I may use this flag, probably, hopefully use it more to attract her attention. I'll kind of crinkle it like that and try to get her to look at me and go, ooh, what's that? So that I can reward that. But I also have this just in case it gets a little crazy and I need to just get her off of me so that I don't get hurt. So kind of two purposes there. So I love this. I love that she's looking at me. I'm just going to take everything super nice and slow. Again, today's going to look kind of boring. It's not going to seem like I'm doing a lot, but it will have huge ramifications later on. And working in a 10 by 10 stall like this is not really ideal. Actually, 10 by 12, but it's not really the ideal setting. But the alternative is working outside in a 30-mile-an-hour wind with about 25-degree temperature. And so I'll work in here for a little bit. So what I'm watching for here is to see if she goes really shut down. Right now, her eyes are kind of going back and forth. She's looking away, but then she's coming back and looking at me. And then she's looking away, and then she's coming back and looking at me. So she's still mentally active. She's not shut down. So because she is mentally active, I'm going to wait. And what I'm watching for then is twitching in her muzzle and eventually, hopefully, licking a chew. And I'm also kind of communicating to her that I know, or that I'm aware of her body language. Okay. So hopefully I haven't talked about this before in this series and doubling up, but horses need a leader. Horses are designed to be in a herd, right? especially these Mustangs that have already lived in a herd and understand body language. There's a study that showed that Mustangs, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was like, I think 200 times a day they display some sort of body language. And whereas domesticated horses that are living in a pen, maybe not around other horses much, I think they only may do like 5 or something like that. Like I say, I can't remember the exact numbers. Maybe that was per hour or something. But the point is, Mustangs are much, much more expressive with their body language, and also much more in tune to reading other horses' body language than a domesticated horse is. And so the reason I bring that up, horses are looking for a leader that's confident and competent and understands how to read their body language. So if you think about, a herd of Mustangs out on the prairie, whatever. If one of the Mustangs needs to relax and wants to go to sleep and take a nap, it needs to be able to implicitly trust the discernment of the horses around it to be its early warning system, right? Because there's never a time when they're not at risk of being attacked by predators. Okay, so if she wants to be able to relax in the wild, she needs to trust that those other horses that she's around. Well, how do those horses develop that trust? Well, they develop it. Very good. I love this right here. She's looking at me with both eyes. This is the first time since I've been in the pen. The way they develop that trust is by reading each other's body language. Now, the only way she's going to be able to develop the trust in me, where I can become her herd leader, and she can be confident that I'm going to keep her safe and let her relax around me, is if I'm reading her body language correctly too. So that's what this session is going to be all about. It's not trying to make her run around, because I can't do that in a 10 by 12 pen. It's going to be 100% showing her that I am aware of her body language and I can react and read it correctly. It's just like if you were in a foreign country and you were a little freaked out because you didn't speak the language of the country you're in. If you only speak English and you're in Russia, you're just plopped into the middle of Russia, you're going to be a little on guard, right? You're going to be, there's a licking at you. I'm just going to go and step out of the pen, reward that lick and chew. Like I say, you're in Russia, you don't speak Russian, all you speak is English, you're going to be a little freaked out. Okay, now somebody comes up to you and starts speaking fluent English to you, you're going to immediately gravitate to that person, right? You're going to say, oh man, here's somebody that maybe I can trust for no other reason than they speak your language, right? There's a lot of trust that can be built just by speaking someone's language. And by me going in there and reading her body language and knowing when her focus was away, when her focus is on me, when she relaxes, rewarding it, she's going, oh man, here's a human that speaks my language. Maybe I can trust this human. Very good. Okay, she got her little reward. You can do the exact same thing again. Good. Now you can see this time when I come in here, she stayed focused on me the whole time, right? Turned away just a little there. But it's a different, like she still got a little agitated. She still got a little up. But it's a completely different interaction here than originally when I first came in and she kind of went over to that corner and stuck her head into the wall. There's a lot of twitching. Hopefully the camera can see this a little bit better than before. A lot of twitching in her muzzle. Got both eyes on me. She's nice and focused. Just gonna wait for the lick and a chew. That little flinch she does right there, I actually like that. So that kind of tells me that she's either not shut down or coming out of being shut down. A lot of times they'll flinch like that when they are shut down, but then as their brain becomes aware of what's going on, they'll do that little flinch thing. And so that's it's an indicator that obviously she's not like super calm or anything like that, but it's a good indicator that we're making progress and we're going in the right direction. relaxed her neck just a little bit right there. Love that. Nostrils going uneven. The reason I'm kind of talking through all these, like every little thing I see, is that you need to be this, like everybody, not just, for Hillary watching this, but, this is going to be a public YouTube video, and I hope lots of people learn from this series. Everybody, not just trainers, everybody needs to be this aware of your horse's body language. The head just coming down that ever so little bit, just that loosening of its neck. The fact that she's blinking right now. The fact that her nostrils went uneven. All these little indicators. The first way you're gonna, the first step to building trust with your horse is being able to read all those, and then you can learn what to do about them. But if you're not aware and you're not reading those things, your horse is going to know that. And it's like you're not speaking the same language as your horse, and you're never going to build that trust with them. Right here's a point where, I think a lot of people would go ahead and, I would call it, press the advantage, if you will. Like she's in a decent mental space, right? She's engaging with me. She's not super flinchy, and I could probably go up and halter her right now. And a lot of people would do that just to get the job done. And I see so many horses that end up shut down because people went ahead and pressed their advantage rather than getting to this and then letting the horse come to a full stage of relaxation, like licking and chewing, and then backing off and rewarding that. So we're going to take that extra little bit of time now to make her better for years and years to come. In the last 3 days of the work we've done outside, it's really helping me right now because it's given her a reason to focus on me. In here, I can't send her and stop her and send her and stop her like I've been doing the last 3 days. I just can't, in the 10 by 12 stall. So she doesn't really have any reason to focus on me, if you will, because I can't tell her to do things in here. But I'm kind of banking on the work we've done the last 3 days that have attracted her focus and given her a reason to think I'm important to focus on. And you can see the focus is not an issue right now. That's great. I haven't had to use the flag once to attract her focus. Okay, she kind of walks off there. I'm going to go ahead and attract her focus now. And there, right there, good. So you see, when I first put that little bit of extra pressure on her, use the flag, it's not really intentionally putting pressure on her, but it's doing something to attract her focus back. It kind of pushed her focus away, and then that didn't help. And so as soon as she brought her focus back onto me, took the pressure away, reward, and now I've got her focus again. She's obviously wound pretty tight because this Braveheart next to us, moved his bucket around or something, and you could see her jump right there. So she's wound up like a spring for sure. But we've got focus, we've got twitching, we've got blinking. There's the lick and a chew. Beautiful. And the head comes down a little bit with that. And then I'll just reward that just by stepping out of the pen. And I'll give her a minute or two and we'll go again. So the more times that you can go from the, there's one side of the fence is, I was going to say aggressive. That's not the right word I meant. Anxious, right? You have anxiety, but responsive, right? If the horse is very anxious, they're responsive to everything. They're moving quick, right? The other side of the line would be calm, but usually dull, right? So if you have a really calm horse, think of the kid horse at camp, and you can kick and beat on it all day, and it just barely plods along, right? So you have a calm and dull. What we'd really like is for a horse to be responsive, but calm, right? We want to get rid of the dull and we want to get rid of the anxious. So the way we do that is we take the horse over to the anxious and responsive side, and then we take the horse all the way back down to the calm and dull side, and then we get it responsive again, but that brings the anxiety back. So then we get it back to the calm, but then it's probably going to be dull, and we keep going back and forth between one side. Remember, everything about horses is balance, right? So we're balancing it up between calm and anxious and responsive, and eventually we will get a horse that's both calm and responsive, and calm and responsive, which is exactly what we want. So what we just did right there was one iteration, actually two iterations, because I stepped out twice. Two iterations of going from an anxious horse to a calm horse, anxious to calm. Now we're not working on responsiveness in here, but we're still taking the horse through that mental range of up to down, up to down. The more iterations we can get like that, the more she's going to learn to do that process on her own, and we won't have to do it for her anymore. Good. Now this time, even better, this time she hasn't dissociated from me at all. I walked into the same point that I did the last two times, but I didn't get nearly the reaction, right? Which is beautiful. She's much more tuned into me. I think I'm going to go ahead and wait for a lick and a chew right here. I was thinking about taking it one step further, but actually like putting my hand up to her face or taking a step towards her. But I think I want to just stand right here one more time, just one more iteration through that up to down, that anxiety down to calm. You can see she's still brown pretty tight. She's kind of actually shaking right now. Her head's a little bit tense. I'm not seeing a lot of twitching yet, but she is focused. So I'm just going to stop here, be respectful of where she's at, of her fear. Let her work through it mentally. She's going to have to deal with this mental fear and anxiety that she has somehow. She's either going to leave, run away from me. She's going to, I don't know, fill in the blank. She could do a lot of different things. Or she can choose to relax. If she does any of the other things, we're going to just attract her focus back. If she relaxes, we leave the pen. Wow, that's the lowest that her head has gone since I've been in the pen with her. Very cool. So what's happening in her brain right there is there's two parts of her brain that are fighting, right? There's the survival part of her brain, which is saying, be alert, be alert. There's predators out there. Be as alert as you can possibly be. And then there's the other side of her brain that's going, this guy seems pretty trustworthy. Maybe I can start to relax a little bit. And those two parts of her brain are fighting, and they'll always fight as long as she's a horse. There's always going to be that pull, that yin and yang between being alert and being relaxed. And right now, the alert is winning by far, right? She's been alert 99% of the time I've been in here. But for that little moment right there, for the very first time, the relaxation part of her brain said, hey, I think it's okay. I think you can relax your neck. You can loosen up a little bit. And she tried it for just that millisecond. She loosened her neck, her head came down, and then of course nothing bad happened to her in that moment. So now her brain is thinking, man, maybe that worked. Maybe I'll try it a little bit more. But the survival instinct of her brain took back over and said, nope, pop your head back up in the air. We got to watch out for predators. But I bet you either this round or maybe next round, by the way, there's a bunch of twitching going on in her nostril, in her muzzle. Either this round or next round, she's going to start lowering her head for quite a bit. And you can just see the wheels turning. There is a softening of her neck, a lot of blinking. There's that little twitch, or big twitch actually. But you can see the wheels turning in there, her going, do I trust this guy? What do I do? I can't be like alert like this forever. How do I get out of this situation? And she looks and chews. Good. I'm not going to step away as she's looking away from me. I'm going to step away once she's both focused and looking and chewing. All right, 3 iterations. Probably do one more, and I'd really like to get even a step closer to her during this set, and then I want to get the same thing done with Braveheart. Actually, I think I'll be done with her for now. I'm going to switch over to Braveheart here, and I'm going to do the same thing. The lighting is not quite as good in this pen, but it's good enough in the camera. You can see it. Okay. Now, as we know, Braveheart has much less fear than Tehya. However, a lot of times that apparent lack of fear is really kind of a veneer, a covering for a horse that actually does have anxiety, but just kind of puts on a brave front, right? But we'll see. I don't know. This seems very good. He's being very respectful. He's kind of leaning up. He's kind of wanting to interact, but he's being respectful about it, which is beautiful. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and put my hand out for him to sniff, which is how I like to do the first interaction. And we're going to see what happens. Good. Right there. I'm going to take my hand away. Always want to take my hand away when their face is straight. If I put my hand out and it's like a magnet and it pushes his head away, I don't want to take my hand away. I also don't want to invade his space more, so I would just leave my hand there, wait for him to come back to straight, engage with me, and I take my hand away. It's kind of like show business. Always leave them wanting more, right? Good. He sniffs my hand, interacts with me, and I take my hand away. Beautiful. Big licks and chews. Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and try petting him on the forehead here. Good. And the reason I went ahead and moved into his space more is he took that big step into my space, which I don't love, but I'm not going to do anything about it in this small of a space just yet. Yeah, it wasn't super disrespectful, but he was kind of shouldering into me. And something we'll probably talk about more when we get outside is foal behavior. I want you to remember that term. I think that's going to be a big thing with this horse is correcting foal behavior, but I'm not going to get into that just yet. Just kind of keep that on the shelf. He's kind of avoiding my hand, not bad, but a little bit. That's big time avoiding my hand. There, he comes back to center, and I take my hand away. Okay, so if you see there, he was like, I've had enough of this. And he takes his head way away, but I kept my hand there, and when he came back to center, then I take my hand away. There, he's trying to avoid my hand, and he comes back. Good. Tries to avoid my hand. I go with him. He doesn't get away like that. Comes back to center, and I take my hand away. Good. Gets in my space a little much there. I'm just going to kind of say, hey, no, I'm here. Again, I'm not going to get too big with him in the smallest space or anything, but he does need to learn to respect my space a little bit more than that. Trying a lot of different things to get my hand to go away. Wait for him to come back to center. He's still in avoidance right here. Avoiding more. And there he came back. Almost. There he's center and looked and chewed. Good. Notice that he took a big step back right there. So that's what I wanted. When he first took that big step towards me a couple minutes ago, and I said, okay, I'm going to move on, and I went ahead and put my hand on his forehead, it was kind of to say, I'm invading your space a little bit, and he actually took that step back and got out of the way a little bit. Very good. And then he kept his head forward there. That's awesome. A lot of twitching. Another big licking and chew. He took a big step towards me there, and he steps back. Wait for his face to come back to center. He's avoiding. There. And that's how you get out of it. This is going to have huge payoffs when we go to put the bridle on, even if you go to put the halter on. If you're trying to deworm, it has huge payoffs for that. Anything you need to do where you're trying to handle his face, if he thinks he can get away from it by turning his face away or throwing his head in the air or putting it way down low, you're always going to be chasing his head around. But this is the start of being able to just come up and deworm him super easily. This is the start of being able to put the bridle on and not chase his head around. He looks away. Oh, he didn't go near as far, though. Comes back to center, and I take my hand away. Very good. Okay, I want to see if I can go on to... Actually, I'll probably just start on this side. I just want to see if I can move my hand down to his neck area, and if he's super reactive to that, or if he's pretty good with that. Kind of like where I need to be to halter him. Good. Not reactive at all to that. No, I shouldn't say not at all. He is dissociating. See how he's dissociating from my hand being here? He's trying to get away. I'll wait till he comes back to center and is not trying to be dominant. He's running away from it. Wait for it. I'm not going to release here because he's still mentally running away. Just wait. There. Okay, so you see he has two coping mechanisms to deal with my hand being somewhere he doesn't want it. One is to run away. That's when he turns his head away and is not physically running away, but mentally running away. Or number two is to get dominant and try to pseudo attack me, right? Like he didn't try to bite me or anything, but it's to get a little bit like, hey, get your hand away. And you know, I don't know if that's worked for him in the past, maybe, or if that's just what he thinks is the right answer. But basically what I did was I didn't let either of those things get my hand to go away. My hand only went away when he was respectful and not running away mentally. I'm gonna go back and do it again. See, he puts his head up in the air. He gets a little dominant in body. There, good. That time he didn't try to run away at all. He tried the dominance thing, and then he's like, oh, that didn't work. And then he put his head right back where it's supposed to be. Very good. All right, let's try this side. Not bad at all. All right. Very good. I think I'm going to wait for a lick and a chew here, and then I'm just going to be done. That was really good. I think that's all stuff. Okay, now he's stepping into my space a little bit, so I'm just going to back him out of my space. Normally I don't do that, meaning I don't, like, if they step forward, I don't just step them back. But in this situation, I'm going to. Normally I would send him to work or something, but Again, I can't do that in here. So, but I'd like him to lick and chew standing there, not feeling like he has to engage with me, because I think engaging with me is one of his coping mechanisms. Ask him to get off this pressure. There. And there's a lick and a chew, and I'll go ahead and be done there. So he licked and chewed over there, not utilizing me as his coping mechanism. That's an excellent stopping point. All right. I will probably come back and do a similar session with these guys, and then we'll kick them out. Maybe I'll do a session outdoors. We'll see. And yeah, I like how they're both coming along. Talk to you later. Okay, so it's I went and had lunch since the last session, so it's probably been an hour or so. I'm going to come back and do the exact same thing with Tehya and Braveheart again. Again, I'm just trying to get their focus and relaxation. Pretty simple stuff. I really like that when, no, that was a big reaction there. I'm going to keep the pressure a little bit till I get focus here. There's both eyes. Take the pressure away. I was just about to say that when I walked in here, she didn't jump and run or anything. She just stayed. She just kind of looked over at me. It's like, oh, hi. You know, it was great. There's a looking at you. And Braveheart was looking at you in a bunch. So I really liked all that. And then I walked in there, and then she goes crazy and runs around. So, oh, well, it is what it is. Give her a little bit of reward here and do it again. Good. There's focus. You might not be able to see it in the camera, but there's some twitching going on in her bottom lip. And her eyes have been moving around quite a bit. Now, if I was in this situation and she was just locked to the outside, meaning like her focus was all to the outside and there was no twitching and things like that, then I would think that she's in a shutdown state, and I'm not really going to accomplish anything by standing here. But her eyes are moving around a lot. Her ears are moving, and like she's not shut down. She's thinking, and there's twitching going on. So she's thinking about whether to come down or not. And so I just want to give her time, get her to trust this. She's probably expecting me to push on up here and try to halter her. And I'm going to say, no, that's not That's not what I'm doing. I'm going to wait for you to relax, and then I'm going to back away. Only going to go as fast and trying to halter her and get hands on her as she's comfortable with. It's funny, while I was eating lunch right before I came out here, I was watching, flipping through Facebook and saw this video that one of my friends on Facebook had posted, and so this kid, I guess he had shared it from somebody else. I don't know who originally posted it, but this kid's little cowboy, like 5-year old cowboy in this pen, and there's this horse in the round pen, kind of running around him, and the kid's roping it, and the horse is pretty calm actually. The horse is wanting to kind of play ball until the kid ropes it, and then the horse sticks his head up in the air, and of course now the kid has it on the rope, and that's at the end of the video. It doesn't show what happens there, but and the video is bragging about what a hand the little kid is, that he's able to rope this horse, and how quickly he's coming along. Good. I love how he turned his attention to me and wants to engage. But I just thought with that video, how sad it is that that horse is trying to play ball and they're just going to go rope it, and I get that that's the old cowboy way of doing it, and kid's probably pretty tough, and good for him for having the skills to rope it, but man, it just sucks that a whole nother generation of kids being taught just rope the horse instead of paying attention to its body language. Take the little bit of extra time, make sure the horse is good with it, and you can get so much further with the buy-in of the horse. But different people. And then this really sad part to me was that a couple of my friends on Facebook, who I thought were knew something about horses, liked the video. But oh well. It definitely takes a lot more patience to do it this way, because I could do the same thing with these Mustangs. These guys are probably in about the same spot that those horses were. You could put them in a round pen and you could just rope them, and you could just manhandle them and make them do what you want them to do, and get a saddle on them and get on, and they're going to buck around, and you can man up and ride through the bucks. But is that very nice to the horse? And even if you don't care about being nice to the horse, is that going to produce the best horse in the end? I would say